Hello, America. I'm Mark Levin, and this is Life, Liberty, and Levin. We have two great guests tonight. Elise Stefanik. Let me tell you something. This is a heroic warrior who one day could be a great president of the United States. Just saying. And our friend Katie Pavlich. But before we go to our guests, the first 100 days. Everybody likes to talk about the first 100 days. Well, yes, the border is shut closed. They said it couldn't be done. It's done. Did you see this deal with Great Britain? President Trump is spreading market capitalism globally, as I said he would. That's the whole point of the tariffs. The tariffs is to have more capitalism, not less. Look at how he's exposed with Elon Musk. Waste and fraud and abuse. The ugly, bloated underbelly of the ugly federal establishment. He's cutting spending. He's cutting regulations. He's trying to cut the federal workforce and these bloated programs. He's eliminating racial discrimination, DEI. Nobody ever has led a war on anti-Semitism, which is rampant in this country, like President Donald Trump. And I can go through other particulars, but that's not what I want to do. The first 100 days. There are consequential presidents. There are awful presidents. There are placeholder presidents. Donald Trump is a consequential president. Put aside the media, the Democrat Party, some of the rhinos, and their entrails, their surrogates. He is a historic figure. He is a historic figure because of several factors. His own personality and charisma. His relationship with the American people. When he speaks, you feel like he's speaking directly to you. He's a big thinker, a bigger thinker than most people who occupy the Oval Office. He has big ideas. He thinks outside the box. He sees the Chinese and the Russians and the Arctic Circle where they're building military bases, and he's thinking Greenland. We need Greenland. The Gulf of America. Why not? His trade deals that we're talking about, and I could go on and on. He thinks outside the box, and he thinks big. He has enormous energy and motivation. Every single day when he's in the Oval Office. He's a principled man who's open to ideas and arguments and challenges. He's a curious man who's always interested in how things work, why things don't work, and even the lives and well-being of the people around him, whether it's family or friends or staff. He always asks. When President Trump was first running for president, I coined the phrase blue-collar billionaire, because that's what he is. Even though he is wealthy, his friends, many of whom are wealthy, he is focused on Mr. and Mrs. America. The president is not driven by ideology, he's driven by philosophy. Two different things. Ideologues are extremists who do not use reason, experience, or logic, like the fifth column isolationists that we have, who believe it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon and who root for Putin. Sick. A philosophy is a belief system based on certain principles, but open to adjustments, improvements, and so forth. This is what he means when he says common sense. He's got his basic principles, he's got his philosophy, but he wants to listen. He wants to learn. Now, the president is not only a businessman, but he succeeded in one of the most difficult industries in the most competitive city on the face of the earth. This is what he brings to the presidency. There's never been another like him, and probably won't be another like him ever again. President Trump is also a historic figure, thanks to his enemies. There has never been such a concerted effort by elected and unelected officials in our government to destroy a public figure, a president, then a former president, then a candidate for president, and even now, president, in hopes of destroying his agenda. 91 bogus criminal charges in federal and state courtrooms in 4 different jurisdictions. Multiple bogus civil fraud charges intended to destroy his businesses, steal his wealth, and bankrupt him and his family. Hundreds of subpoenas from Congress and multiple courts, 2 special counsels, 2 impeachments, ballot removal efforts, tax returns leaked. We've never seen anything like it, ever. The criminalization of not just politics, but the effort to criminalize Donald Trump and his family and his businesses. You see, to the Washington, D.C. ruling class establishment, President Trump is kryptonite. Anything and everything he proposes, they immediately attack. and seek to destroy. No matter what it is, they label him a threat to democracy, a threat to the Constitution, Hitler, and so forth. Will they turn our courts into a despotic power to try and thwart all of his policies, with over 200 lawsuits brought before cherry-picked radical left-wing judges, despite the mandate of the American people, trying to steal our franchise? To them, Trump is the greatest threat they have ever or will ever face, because he will not bend to their will. He's not one of them. And no matter what they try or do, he continues to stand tall. And worst of all, despite all the polling and media and Democrat attacks, he's the most popular politician in America, because he's by nature and personality not a politician. Imagine all the great things Israel, this little country with a small population, imagine all the great things Israel could do if it didn't have the enemies it has. It's already doing tremendous things in technology and so forth, but imagine all the rest it could do for medicine if it didn't have to spend so much time and resources on defending itself. Yet look at that country, look at its people, its strength, its refusal to die, its accomplishments. It's incredible. Israel not only stands, it is stronger than ever today, continuing to conquer its enemies. Now, I see President Trump in a similar way. Despite the endless attacks by his enemies, surrounded by hostile politicians, bureaucrats, and media, not to mention rogue judges, the multiple assassination attempts, including those by Iran, he's always counted out and always under attack. He continues to defeat these dark forces. He won a landslide election, the likes of which we've never seen, and he stands stronger and more popular than ever. I cannot think of another president, apart from Abraham Lincoln, who faced a civil war from the moment he was sworn into office, who's had a more consequential, inspiring, and important first 100 days than President Trump. I cannot think of a more optimistic president, akin to Ronald Reagan, whose portrait he hangs in his office purposely, which is contagious among those who are patriots and love the country. He lives an inspired life, and he inspires others, those who are willing to actually listen, watch, and learn, and aren't filled with hate and contempt. I'm not saying all this because he's my friend. I'm saying all of this because it's true. Because it's true. We now have a deal with the nation of Britain, the sixth largest economy, which opens up their markets, opens up our markets. It's the greatest free market deal between two countries that I've ever seen. For all those who keep talking about Donald Trump, the isolationist, for Donald Trump, the anti-globalist, for Donald Trump, many ways a socialist, I saw somebody write. They don't understand Donald Trump. Donald Trump loves freedom, he loves opportunity, he loves the creation of wealth, and he loves his country. As I explained here a few months ago, in putting in place all these tariffs, he wasn't putting in place all these tariffs to have a tariff war. He put all these tariffs in place almost simultaneously, across the board, one country after another. Not to drive up our prices, not to shutter our businesses, quite the contrary. You have to go through a period of pain. It's unfortunate, but any rational, legitimate economist will explain to you, in order to change economic outcomes. He's trying to break away from the good old school, where countries put massive tariffs on us and we basically ignore it. And he said, no, we're not going to do that. So he puts in place tariffs across the board. Washington goes nuts. The media go nuts. My brothers and sisters in the conservative movement go nuts. I told you here a month or so ago, watch what he's doing. Eliminate the static from your thinking. He says he wants reciprocity. Not reciprocity to raise tariffs. Reciprocity to reduce or eliminate tariffs. And the only way he said we can do that is to put our tariffs in place, as much as are higher than these other countries have on us. Then they will come to the negotiation table. Then we can make a deal. Then we can draw down the tariffs, open their markets. We're happy to open our markets, which are mostly open anyway. And he has his first big deal with Great Britain. Isn't it about time the man gets some due, some credit where he deserves it? I would say so. You know, a month ago also, the Democrats had a big issue, the cost of eggs. Cost of eggs. They thought they really seized on a big one. The cost of eggs went down. They move on to the next subject. Then they move on to the next subject. Wouldn't it be amazing if for the first 100 days, the Democrat Party actually shut the hell up, sit still and watched? Wouldn't it be amazing if we actually had a court system that was a real adjudicative system rather than activist, radical left-wing judges trying to block Trump at every step of the way? Wouldn't it be amazing if we had a media that was honest and truthful and reported the facts as objectively as they're capable of? The first 100 days have been remarkable, but they would even be more remarkable. But for the fact that the Democrat Party and its surrogates and the media and its surrogates want Trump to fail, which means they want America and us to fail. It's been a remarkable 100 days. It's going to be a remarkable second 100 days. Stand tall, stand firm, don't buckle. This is a battle. It's not a battle, as some people have said, between the rich and the poor. That's Marxism. It's not a battle between, what else do they say? The billionaires, the oligarchs, and the rest. That's Bernie Sanders. That's Bernie Sanders. That's Maoism. No. The battle that exists in this country is not about progressivism and nationalism and thisism and thatism. The battle that exists in this country today is between we the people and the ruling class in Washington, D.C. That's the battle. And that's the battle Donald Trump and Elon Musk and his administration are fighting more effectively than any other president I can remember, with more odds against them, more obstacles in front of them than any other president I can remember, including the judicial despotism that's taking place in our country. The more successful he is, the more successful we will be as a nation. So that's how I see the first 100 days. We have a historic figure in the White House. Truly an important figure in the White House. He's not one of these Republicans who go there and, I don't know about this, and sign this, can't we all get along, and so forth and so on. He'll get along if we can get along. He wants to unify. But he also has objectives. He also has a place where he wants to take a country. This is even more remarkable when you consider that Donald Trump was once a Democrat, but so was Ronald Reagan. That Donald Trump was never a sort of movement conservative, and yet he's one of the most conservative presidents we've ever had. He absolutely is. It's even more remarkable when you think that everything he's overcome, he still has a smile on his face, he still makes jokes, he still can fire off a sarcastic line here and there at the media and so forth and so on. They haven't changed the man. The man has changed them. The man is changing the country for the better. After Biden-Harris, after Nancy Pelosi, after Chuck Schumer. They want to destroy him. One last word. In 2 years or so, we're going to have a monumental election, an off-year election for the House and the Senate. The Democrats must not take the House. They want to impeach Donald Trump for a third time. They want to subpoena everything and everyone. They want to do what they did before. They want to drag the country down. Why? Because the Democrat Party, in so many ways, it's like the parties that it mimics. It's like the parties whose propaganda that they regurgitate. What am I talking about? Ready? Like communist parties. They want one-party rule. Oh, they don't mind elections as long as they always win. That's what they want. That's why they want to change our election laws. That's why they want to decide for Republicans who their nominee should be, taking people off the ballot. That's why they criminalized the challenges to the 2020 election, manufactured federal statutes, manufactured state statutes to use. That's why they're doing all this. They want to change the election system. They even want illegal aliens to be able to register to vote in federal elections. You only want to do that if you want to undermine the current citizenry and because you're power hungry. Power. The Democrat Party. We must not allow them to win. And I'm saying this early and putting my marker down. The House of Representatives or the Senate, but especially the House of Representatives, where impeachments come from, where all these investigations are constantly brewing, or we will lose the country and we will lose the presidency, not because Donald Trump would resign, not because he would be effectively impeached, but because they seek to bog us down. I will be returning to this over the course of the next 2 years, of course. We'll be right back.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.